Hey YouTube, Wolfman here with my fiance, and today we're doing our review of Now You See Me Too. Now we have 4 pages of stuff we have written out about this movie. So the first thing I want to point out in this is that they replaced the main heroine from the first movie with a new one, and I'm not okay with that. I mean, granted, the new chick is okay, but I'm not okay with them replacing Henley. Or Hanley, or whatever the fuck her name was. I can't exactly remember.
Henley.
Henley?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Henley.
Okay. So, we're not going to be using all of these points, but we're going to try and use some of the most prevalent ones for our review so that this video doesn't take too long. Like I said, we have 4 pages worth of shit for this movie.
Yeah.
Alright. So, the opening to the movie has a rehashing of the FBI agent Dylan Rhodes' backstory with his father and everything dying. But we don't really have a major emotional attachment to his father. And they try to force one with,
You seeing him screaming for his dad and the police officer dragging him back and all of the things.
Yeah, it's just... It tries to force an emotional attachment to a character we have no emotional attachment for. Now, I kind of like what they did with that, but at the same time, it's just... you can tell it's forced. You can tell it's forced. Another point is Thaddeus Bradley, at the opening of the movie, tries to create tension for the internet with
The Horseman.
So he's opening... He does this opening line, and it just tries to create tension. As we progress through the story, you get Daniel Atlas going to what he thinks is the Eye.
Yeah, to visit what he thinks is the Eye.
And the Eye mocks him by repeating what he says. And then directly after that, they start... Whoever it is starts kissing his ass.
The Eye.
Well, an
Which is not
force.
actually the Eye.
Yeah,
but
an unknown force. We're going to call it that. As it turns out, it's Daniel Radcliffe's character, Walter something, who is supposedly dead. He faked his own death, taking after Jack Wilder. Yeah. Progressing. We have we go back to Dylan Rhodes, who is the FBI agent, who we see as a kid at the beginning of the movie, talking about how they're using messenger pigeons to send messages to the others. Progression. Let's see. We're going to skip a few points because it's just... We get to Jack and Merritt, who are playing with playing cards, which basically foreshadows another plan in the movie. Mm-hmm. The new female horseman shows affections for Jack. It foreshadows a future romance. Then as the introductions are being made to Lulu, the new female horseman, she makes a joke about a sad backstory. It's stuff like that. During this, Dylan presents the horseman with a black light only blueprint. Do you have anything to say on that, babe?
No.
Yeah. Alright. So, the horsemen literally make a very easy plan way more difficult than it needs to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they do that a lot, though. They make their plans way more elaborate than they need to be. Oh. This is actually our first scripted episode of the Wolfman review, so welcome to it. We didn't really script anything out. We just made points, and we're gonna address them for the actual movie. You know. During the plan that is way more elaborate than it needs to be, Daniel Atlas's character goes through several costume changes that are very elaborate but happen at very fast pace, making it seem way too easy for him to be doing these things, even though it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The plan in the movie is executed far too easily, and it really shouldn't. It really shouldn't be that easy for them to execute this plan. But it is.
It shouldn't be as easy for them to execute any of their plans as it is.
Yeah.
Especially with the level of complexity they put into it.
With all the planning and everything they do, this plan should not be executed as easily. There should be a lot more variables in there. During one of the parts of the plan, Lulu is acting very eccentric, and she's spouting off names to distract everyone in the vicinity, and she cuts herself. And
she makes it look like the head chef cut her when it was blatantly obvious that she cut herself.
Yeah. And then it should be blatantly obvious that the injury is fake, but apparently nobody
realizes that.
Yeah. So once that happens, Merrick gets to this guy, the Octa 8, the leader of the Octa Corporation, whom at this point in the movie they are planning to reveal as a liar, cheater, thief, stuff like that. Well, Merrick grabs him and hypnotizes him. The problem I have with that is that the hypnotism happens way too fast. There's not enough that goes into it. It's just way too quick to be real. It really is. There's no point for that to happen as quickly as it does. And it just happens far too quickly for it to be believable, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, it is a movie, so we can't, but still, if you want some semblance of realism, it would take a lot longer for a mentalist to do that.
To hypnotize someone.
Yeah. So during the plan, while Merrick is talking to the Octa 8 guy, the Octa guy, Owen whatever, while Merrick is telling him
what to say,
he's showing far too much emotion to really be hypnotized. If you're hypnotized, you're kind of blank, you're open to suggestion. He just shows way too much emotion. Now, as the story progresses, during this part of the movie, the plan that they use goes off without a hitch. It's a seemingly perfect plan that goes off with no problems, which again really shouldn't happen for how elaborate it is. And then it gets ruined at the last possible moment. Mm-hmm. Showing a slight hint of realism, so I've got to give it there. It does that. So during the last part of it, as they're trying to get away because the plan's being ruined, an unknown force reveals that, Dylan Rhodes, the FBI agent, who's actually Dylan Shrike, is part of the Horsemen, and that Jack Wilder is not dead. You know, he's alive, and that then he reveals where Jack is, but how does he know that Jack's right there at that particular moment in time? How does he know the exact position of Jack Wilder? There's no possible way, yet he does. He shows it.
He does the same thing with Dylan.
Yeah, he does the exact same thing with Dylan. How does he know that Dylan's even there? There's no possible way he can know. Now we did have a question. How does the unknown force know that Dylan's working with the Horsemen? As it's revealed later on, we kind of scratched that one out. As it's revealed later on, they hacked into Daniel's phone, tracked Merrick McKinley down. Then you have the revelation of Merrick's evil twin. One of the biggest cliches there are. Mm-hmm. Evil twins. There's an evil twin. Oh my god, evil twin. That's a fucking cliche. Biggest cliche in the world. So they get, as they're escaping, they jump down the wrong tube. They get hypnotized, transported to China, Macau, China. That's an important fact. They're in Macau. But whenever they finish falling through the tube and wake up, which, how do they know when they're going to wake up as they're falling through the tubes? But there are 3 baskets for 4 horsemen. Why? I don't know. Not explained. And then while they're being walked out and everything, and Merrick walks outside, nobody seems to notice that these guys are the world famous 4 horsemen. If they're supposed to be world famous, how does nobody recognize them? So, as the story progresses, you get Dylan talking to Thaddeus Bradley, who refers to them as playing a game. That's another really big cliche. 2 opposing forces are now playing a game. Big cliche. Then they have a rehashing of the beginning of the story in a flashback, basically showing that, Thaddeus Bradley was there with Lionel Shrike when Lionel Shrike dies. Big cliche because it, whatever. It's in a flashback. We don't need this flashback, but it's there for reasons. Best way I can put it. Reasons. The unknown force is revealed. As it turns out, it's Daniel Radcliffe's character. We've already explained that. He's Walter. I can't remember his fucking last name. But he's revealed trying to do a magic trick, and he fails. Like, he messes up the magic trick, then he turns around and says, "Ta-da!" Big fucking reveal ruined by messing up the magic card trick that he's probably been practicing for a little while to reveal himself in front of the magicians with. And he still fails. And then does the whole ta-da cliche. And he's really eccentric and reveals himself to be a major dick. Starts talking, says the real magic here is science, stuff like that. We're only on page 2. We're 14 minutes into this fucking video already. Gonna skip a couple of things on here. Chase and Merrick actually reference the first movie. Chase has a cheesy nickname for Merrick, Mare Bear. That kind of annoyed me. Mm-hmm. My God, we do really have a lot of points in this.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically, there's just a lot that went into this movie and a lot for us to go through this. So, Dylan blames Thaddeus for his father's death. Cliche. Revealed later on that he had nothing to do with it. The main villain wants them to steal a chip. And with this chip...
it's like it can control all motherboards on all computers or whatever.
Basically, it can break through any firewall. It can manipulate the government. It's this hyper-advanced fucking chip. Mm-hmm. That's all you really need to know about is this hyper-advanced chip. It is the main plot device. Mm-hmm. Legitimately, it is a device for this plot to progress.
That's it. It's never used.
It's never used. Not at all. It's... Yeah. And
even at some point, the main characters do believe that they have lost the chip.
Yeah.
When they don't.
Yeah.
They have the real chip the whole time.
Yeah. But apparently the chip that's created is about the same size as a playing card, maybe a little bit heavier. But it's still just like flimsy. It has some metal circuitry in there, yada yada yada, whatever. There's a part in the scene where Merrick does this thing for hypnotism, and it's obviously fake. I mean, blatantly obvious that this part of the hypnotism is fake. So whenever they get there, Atlas assumes that he's a doctor and that the chick is supposed to be the floozy Buffy. And then blindsided at the fact that he is the floozy. He is Buffy the man toy. Or boy toy, as it were. And he just can't understand how that happened. Apparently the person they went after... Oh yeah, that's why. Merrick drags the guy under a dragon thing and starts hypnotizing him. You know, does the whole snap thing. Sleep. Boom. Hypnotism. Way too fast.
Yeah.
But the plan that they do it happens far too quickly and far too smoothly, even with the mess ups that they have. Mm-hmm. And they do have quite a few mess ups, like Jack forgets about his wallet that has metal in it.
He does it on purpose.
No, he doesn't. He forgets about his wallet.
No, he does that on purpose.
No, he doesn't.
So that they can get the card through at the end.
But the thing is Jack asks, if the card has metal in it, how are we supposed to get it through? Because Jack forgets to take his wallet out that has metal in it. And then whenever he's asking about the wallet, that's when Merrick does that whole fake card slide thing that's obviously computer generated. It's obviously CGI. Mm-hmm. And pretends to tie his shoe. Stuff like that. It's just way too obvious that it's fake.
Yeah, it really is.
And
like there was so much that went into that didn't really have to go into that. Like
it was way more extravagant than it needed to be. Like, I mean, way more. It was way too elaborate. Then there was one part where they're just sitting there with the card and they're doing all of this stuff and it's obviously fake.
Yeah.
It's obviously not happening, but it's meant to look like it's real sleight of hand. There's no possible way that these guards could not have seen any of this stuff happening.
Yeah.
But they don't. At one point, there is the main villain, Walter, reveals himself to not be the main villain anymore by calling someone on the phone. As it turns out, it is the insurance person from the first movie. Arthur Tressler. It was the Tressler guy from the first movie. Turns out to be the main villain. You know, stuff goes on. Then you have Atlas gives Dylan the wrong idea about what's going on. Dylan winds up saving his life. You find out that whenever, you know, I've already explained that point where, you know, Atlas is talking to the Eye, finds out that they hacked into his phone, reveals that Walter is the was pretending to be the Eye. You know, we did this so that we wouldn't be stumbling over our words, and I'm still whatever, I don't care. But there's an obviously staged fight. There's convenient trapdoors. The fight scene's kind of confusing.
Not kind of confusing. It's like all the way around confusing.
Yeah.
Like you don't even really understand what's happening.
Yeah, there's one part
until the end.
Yeah, there's one point in the movie where, you know, Walter's bringing all these guys in. Dylan comes in, saves Atlas, and then there's this whole real big confusing fight scene, and it's obviously staged, but at the same time, it's just really confusing because you don't know what's going on. And fucking Walter looks at all the guys on the ground and goes, "There are like 10 of you. He's just using magic tricks. How is this happening?" And it, you know,
he kind of has a point there.
There's a major point there. Dylan still gets fucked at the end of the fight. He still gets captured. Then they sit here and do a cliche dunking him in the same, putting him in the same safe, the prototype to the safe his father had made for his final trick that he died during. Put him in the water, you know, big cliche about burying one of the main protagonists in his father's grave kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you have consequences of consequences cliche right before they do that. Yada yada yada. Villains being classy while trying to kill one of the main protagonists. Villains assume the main character is dead without checking cliche. You know, that happens in every movie.
It really does.
You can't have a scuba diver go down there and make sure he's dead. You can't do that.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Apparently that costs too much money.
During whatever that happens, Dylan Shrike has a flashback that reveals something important to him, and he figures something out so he can escape. Then, whenever he escapes, he passes out before he can swim away. Gets saved by Atlas. Thaddeus becomes a double agent. Cliche, you know?
It finally shows that
he's a double agent. That's a cliche. If I ever saw one, you know, cliches are cliches. Then you have them two talking, and Tressler basically says, "I will kill you if what you say isn't true. Are we clear?" And Thaddeus replies with, "As clear as the water Dylan is under," kind of thing. So it's a kind of clear as mud cliche. Like, yeah. Cliche is cliche. You got, towards the end of the movie, the main protagonists start to work together. Cliche. There are a lot of cliches in this movie.
There's a crap load of cliches in this movie.
Like, we're sitting there, and we're going through all this, and I honestly like this movie. Like, it's a good movie. I definitely recommend you watch it. But at the same time, it's amazing how many cliches are in this movie.
Well, I mean, it's a magic movie, so it's gonna have a crap load of fucking cliches.
But still, you would think. Like, here's another one. You know, the main protagonists begin to work together. They realize they have a common goal cliche when there's multiple protagonists.
Villain not going to stop until he gets what he wants cliche.
Every movie with a main villain. That's every fucking movie with a main villain in it. Use the villain use what the villain wants against him cliche. 3 cliches back to back in this movie.
4. Heroes finally come together as one cliche.
Yeah, there you go. There are 4 cliches. Then you have a rehashing of the first movie by series of shows. They put together a series of shows just like they did in the first movie to initiate a big reveal. Oh yeah, whenever they're sitting here, whenever Tressler and Walter are trying to figure out everything that's going on, we want everybody for security. We want anyone who will work cliche. There's another fucking cliche.
Evil twin knows entire plan cliche.
At least one person in every movie, they have one of these people that knows the entire plan that the good guy's gonna go through. And describes it in almost perfect detail. Just so happens that at this point is the evil twin cliche, who is the person who knows the entire plan of the main protagonist cliche. Yeah. Double cliche in one cliche. More cliches being cliche. At one point, you know, while they're doing this, turns out that Thaddeus Bradley is not only a double agent, he is a triple agent.
Yep.
You know, there's just so much for that. Bad guys confused that the main hero survives because Dylan, you know, he survives. He gets out and Atlas saves him and they see him and it's like, how did he survive? We watched him die. No, you fucking didn't. You dumped him in the water and assumed he died.
Yep.
How are you surprised he survived? He's a fucking magician. But whatever.
This kind of reminds me of Scooby-Doo, for whatever reason.
So then they have, they do the show and Atlas sits here and claims to control the weather better than God kind of cliche. Old British villain. They have a obviously fake explosion during the whole capture process. You have the British villain cliche. The heroes pretend to fight, find out that the fake chip they thought they had was the real chip.
Yep.
Really confusing on that. Basically, overuse of slow-mo when the heroes die cliche. They did that. That's fucking hilarious. Shut the door, it's cold in here cliche. When they're basically throwing them out of a plane that isn't really moving, you know.
Heroes look like they're floating outside of the plane, even though they are on dry land.
Yeah.
And, like, just walking outside of the plane.
Shocking reveal ending. You know, everything was a trick. The end of the movie was a gigantic trick cliche. Old magician has something up his sleeve cliche. Thaddeus Bradley, triple agent. He's sitting there with the FBI and he escapes after he gets told you need to stay right here. Tit for tat cliche between the two twins. Big reveal made at the stroke of midnight cliche.
Because it literally hits midnight, right when they're done talking about everything.
So big reveal made at the stroke of midnight. The eye begins to reveal itself. Thaddeus makes a big reveal. Dylan moves past his vendetta. You might want to see this cliche. Rehashing of opening line to reveal different meaning cliche.
Yep.
There's just so many cliches in this movie. We are finally done with this list.
Yep. Well,
and we're going on almost
30 minutes.
Yeah, we're probably going to have a little bit over a 30-minute video. So, basically, overall, even though this movie is one giant cliche,
we love it. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I love this movie. There's a couple of things I didn't like. Like, you know, they have a lot of cliches. The evil twin thing, that's a big cliche. The big reveals being made at certain times.
The recasting for the female lead, She doesn't fit that role at all,
Like,
I feel.
she's good for what they did with her, but she should not have been... They should have gotten the other actress back.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to have Henley back rather than Lulu.
Yeah. Lulu was just too eccentric and didn't fit the Horseman the way I would think that a female should fit in there.
I mean, granted, it was a good movie. It's definitely something I would recommend for people to watch. But it's... You know, it's a sequel.
Yep.
Granted, it's better than most sequels I've seen. A lot of sequels to movies were horrible and really should not have been made.
Yeah.
This is one of those that I could stand. It's a good sequel, and I definitely recommend to watch it. Now, this was technically our first semi-scripted episode. I said that earlier in the video. So, overall, on the review, I say it's a good movie. Like all movies, it has its flaws. So, go out, watch it. See what you think, if you haven't watched it already.
Leave some comments. Let us know what you think. Tell us if we left anything out.
Give us an idea for maybe our next video, you know? I'm going to be posting on Twitter. You can follow me there at @WerewolfMan. WerewolfMan is all one word, capital W-E-R-E. Wolf is spelled capital W-O-L-F-E. Not regular wolf. Wolf with an E. Man is capitalized, M-A-N. You know, follow me there. Check me out. Let me know what you guys think of my videos. We have a group on Facebook right now called Wolfman Productions. We're trying to get, you know, we're doing
everything we can to get the word out, but we need your help.
Please, if at any point in time you can help us, please do so. As with that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end. And as always, stay safe. Stay beautiful, YouTube.